Stevens radio show. Rich Stevens. Sounds so nice, you're gonna say it twice. Rich Stevens show. Coming to you strong on your radio.
What's going on? It is Friday, the 10th of February, 2017. I hope you're feeling good. Glad the weekend's here. My favorite part of the weekend is the great TV shows, especially one in particular. But let me tell you this. Sopranos fans are going to remember Steve Schirripa as Tony Soprano's, I guess you could say, dim but lovable brother-in-law, Robert, or Bobby Bacala. But these days, Steve Schirripa is in a very different TV role. He plays Anthony, Aaron Reagan's investigator in the DA's office on my favorite Friday night show on CBS, Blue Bloods. He also makes a really mean spaghetti sauce, and you know I like a lot of the sauce. Welcome to the Rich Stevens Show, my buddy Steve Schirripa. How are you?
Richard, boy, how are you, pal?
I'm doing good. First, I got to ask you, how's the weather?
Well, you know, it's sunny, but it's very cold today. It snowed yesterday. We didn't get as much as what they said, but it's quite a bit of snow, so it's kind of crappy. But
you're kind of used to that by now, right?
You know, it is what it is. You know, I don't really have to too many things I got to do today. I'm not working, so I don't have to be out there. But, you know, somebody's out there working.
Yeah.
You know, we work on the streets, and when it's cold or when it's raining, you go right through it. So it's, you know, it's not the easiest conditions always, you know.
Back in the day when I was doing acting myself, and we were shooting NYPD Blue also on the streets, and it was in the middle of the winter. We got one of these storms, and we worked right through it. It was so cold.
Yeah, you go right through. I mean, this episode that airs tonight, as a matter of fact, we shot it about 3 weeks ago, and it was cold. I mean, I'm talking like where you know, it's hard to even talk. You know, it was that cold. You know, I've worked in weather like that where you can't get the words out of your mouth. But, you know, it's all part of the deal. So, you know, it is what it is. It's all right.
But it's pretty hard.
I'd rather work in the cold than the heat, believe it or not.
Really? I was going to ask you that. Which would you prefer?
The humidity kills me, man. I love Florida, but the humidity in the summer I just can't handle it, you know.
Yeah, you know, there was one time actually I was doing The Equalizer, and we were doing it in the cold, and the episode was supposed to take place in a different time when it was warm. So we were wearing, you know, shorts and T-shirts, and they gave us those things you put in your pocket, those
yeah, the hand warmers.
Yeah. So it's not fun all the time. A lot of people think that being on a television show is all fun and games. It's not. It's a lot of work.
It's not fun. Well, listen, it's work for sure, but it's work that you like doing. You know what I mean? Are there moments where you go, oh, man, I got to do blah, 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 blah? Of course. And then there's tedious moments and moments where you don't have much to say in a scene, but you still have to be there, and it's hours, and you're standing on your feet and all that. But you love what you do, so it's not, you know, I honestly would rather be doing that than anything else. So that's far outweighs, you know what I mean? But, yeah, it's work, of course. There's a lot of work involved. Got to learn your lines. You got to work on your stuff. I mean, you don't just go in and you know, get your thing, and it's not easy. It's got to be, it's certainly work involved and a lot of hours involved, you know.
Well, let me ask you this, because a lot of people don't realize this either. There are people, it's just like me, you know, I do a 2-hour show. People say, oh, you only work 2 hours a day. I wish it was that easy.
Of course, it's the preparation, of
right.
course. I mean, it's the preparation, all the hours and years of you honing this craft of what you're doing. You know, it's taken me years and years and years, you know. It's not just, you know, taking years and years. You get the script, you break the script down, you know. You learn your lines. You got to keep learning them. You got to keep, things are switching. Sometimes they change day before, 2 days before. So you got to stay on top of it. It's to me anyway, totally consuming. So if I'm doing an episode and I'm in the middle of one, that's really the focus of just about everything for the next 8-10 days, you know?
Yeah, and it does actually consume your entire life because you
Absolutely.
have to...
I mean, if you're going to do it well and if you're going to care about it and if you're going to stick around, I think so. You know, I'm sure there's people goof off and, you know, they don't come back. You know, they're worried about whatever, you know. I personally, you know, there's a lot of work. I work with a coach sometimes, you know. I run lines with someone. I've been working with a coach since I started acting Almost from the beginning, all through the Soprano years, I had an acting coach, and we would go and we would talk about the scenes, and we would break the scenes down, and he would give his suggestions, and I would sometimes go to his apartment at 11 o'clock in the morning, work for 2 hours with him, and then go to the studio and actually shoot the scene.
Wow.
He was a big help to me at the time because, when I was on The Sopranos, I hadn't been acting all that long. I kind of had on-the-job training,
Well, I got to tell you, you are not only a great actor, but one of my favorite actors because you pull us into the character. And I want to say that I think finally, over the last maybe month or so, I'm starting to see Anthony and not Bobby anymore.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. It's a different guy completely. Anthony's a New York guy, a street guy, grew up on the streets, but he's a very smart guy. Bobby wasn't the smartest, and he's a smart guy. And there's Blue Bloods has got great writing. It's a great show. And and I didn't even. I didn't watch it. I don't watch that much TV, believe it or not. And I didn't watch it until they offered me the role, and then I went back and I watched a whole bunch of them so I knew what was going on. And it really is a wonderful show, and it's been in the top 10 all season. I mean, this is the 7th season. I mean, they got 14 million people are watching the show on a Friday night.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. We're talking to Steve Schirripa from Blue Bloods. Do you think we're going to see Anthony in a train store anytime soon?
I sure hope not, because that's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
That's going to be trouble if I hear that. That's going to be trouble.
It could be. It could go the opposite direction too. You don't know. It could turn out that maybe Anthony has a hobby with Lionel trains, for all we know.
You never know. You never know. But let's hope not.
Who would surprise us on Blue Bloods to be totally different than the character on the show? I mean, totally opposite. Is there one that stands out?
Well, I guess really just about everybody, I mean, certainly Bridget, who comes off, Erin Reagan comes off kind of hoity-toity, and, I mean, Bridget Moynihan is as nice a person as you're going to find. I mean, she's a wonderful, caring person, very smart. I don't know. It's hard to say, I don't think Donnie Wahlberg's a terrific guy. He don't run around snapping at people like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. He plays a great character on the show, but he's a very generous and a good guy, and so I think a little bit. But, on The Sopranos, I could tell you, Uncle Junior was nothing like him. Dominic Chianese was absolutely nothing like his character, nor was Michael Imperioli. And nor was Jim, Tony Soprano. Nothing at all.
That's interesting to hear. Well, are you friends with anybody still from The Sopranos?
Sure. I'm friends with almost everybody. I mean, I talk to Michael. He's one of my closest friends. I speak to him a couple of times a week. Tony Sirico, I just finished the Woody Allen movie with him. Woody Allen's next movie. I worked with Tony on that for 8 days. Most of the guys we speak to, I don't see everyone like we used to. Everybody's doing their own thing. But, these are lifelong friends. That was a moment in time, Rich, where unlike most shows, you go to work, you're cordial, you blah, 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 and then you go your separate way. That was one show where we actually hung together, we hung out and we were friends with the families and we vacationed together, and it was like that. It truly was a family, and like I said, it's 10 years the show's over, so everyone's gone their own way, but you still keep in touch. I talk to Vince Coratola a lot, Johnny Sack. I talk to the son, Junior there, Robert Eiler. I speak to him, and then we've stayed friends. I saw Lorraine in November, Lorraine Bracco. So, like I said, it was a moment in time where we all went through this thing together, this phenomenal, once-in-a-lifetime show. And, and when you're with, I was on the show for 8 or 9 years, and, you go through divorces and marriages and kids being born and birthdays and,
Yeah, it's a big deal. We're talking to Steve Schirripa from Blue Bloods and Sopranos members. It's just great to hear you, especially when you're dropping all the names. Tell me about tonight's episode. You told me the other day it's pretty interesting.
Well, tonight's a good one. I mean, they're all good, but tonight I run into Kevin Corrigan, who's if you look him up, he's been in over 100 movies. You know his face, and he's a terrific actor. New York actor, and he's done a ton of stuff. And he plays an old friend from the neighborhood. And I bump into him on the street, and he's in a little bit of trouble, and blah, blah, blah. So it's a good one. There's other stuff going on. You know, usually there's 3 storylines going on, and that's one of them. And I bump into him in the street, and maybe it's not necessarily on accident either, you know.
I think we need
by accident.
I think we need a small role for Rich Stevens on one of these episodes.
Yeah, you never know, Rich. You never know. You need a radio guy who becomes a murderer.
There you go. As long as you don't put me in the back of the police car, I think I'll be okay.
There you go. And I sent you my sauce. You got the sauce.
I love the sauce. Steve Schirripa's sauce is just incredible.
It's Uncle Steve's. For people that don't know, you go to UncleStevesNY.com. And, you know, there's a list of where we sell it, and you can buy it online. And we're in over 3,000 stores now across the country, and it's going well. We're in Florida. We're in the West Coast, and the sauce is really good. It's organic. It's gluten-free, and it's great. I had some last night myself.
You know what? I wish I could say I had some last night, too, but I went through the sauce that you sent me a couple of cases so quickly. It's so good. I mean, it really, I feel like I was on Arthur Avenue, like just close.
Well, listen, it's good and it's so convenient. I mean, who's got time anymore to sit there, you know what I mean, to make sauce like my mother did? No one's got time. Both parents are working. Kids are running around. They're at school, soccer, baseball. So it makes it very convenient, and it's good. The sauce is healthy, and it's good for you, and we've been doing pretty well with that. So that's kind of a good thing,
yeah,
you know. And that's it. We got the Woody Allen movie coming out, Blue Bloods tonight, and I'll be in a bunch more. We've got a couple more. You know, I think we film until the beginning of April. You know.
Well, it sounds good. Listen, before the movie comes out, I want to get you back on again, and I'm still waiting for you to make a little visit down here so you come in the studio. We could have some
fun. If I get to Florida, I haven't. I don't get down there much, but if I get down there, I certainly will, my friend.
Your family wants to come down. They told me.
All right, Richie.
Steve Schirripa from Blue Bloods tonight, 10 o'clock on CBS. Thank you so much. Always an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show.
Always good to talk to you.
You too, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much,
Bye.
Steve. Have a good one. What a great guy. And by the way, the sauce is just incredible. Quick time out. You are listening to The Rich Stevens Show.